According to this guy, the UK is a dictatorship. He's not right, but we're going to go through the video anyway and explain where it's wrong and why it's so misleading. This is Stupid Stories by News of the Week, the show where I go behind the headline or social media post to explain away misleading or incorrect information to help you stay informed. The single biggest issue with calling the UK a dictatorship is that it just doesn't behave like one. For it to be a dictatorship, it would have to have a weak parliament which is constantly bypassed. It would have to have a virtually non-existent judiciary, and public opinion would just be stifled. It wouldn't be discussed. And that's because a dictator relies on having no opposition. His first argument for the UK being a dictatorship, though, was the introduction of digital ID to supposedly monitor everyone. We don't know the full extent of what digital ID will actually do and mean. First and foremost, we've been told it's going to deal with illegal working in Britain. The furthest thing I've read about it doing is looking at benefits eligibility. Even if it does go further to look at things that may be more concerning, that would present a privacy risk and a risk to people's rights. That would then be objected to by Parliament, scrutinised and probably worked out. Because of that role Parliament can play and does often play in shaping legislation, it cannot be considered weak enough to be a dictatorship. It's not constantly bypassed. He also suggested that the Online Safety Act censors anything that the government disagrees with. Now we know that's not true because his videos are stood up. Most of the people's videos that I react to are stood up, and my videos are stood up as well. But also the Online Safety Act really regulates online content that is illegal and or harmful to children. Now there are definitely issues with how it does this and things like what's considered harmful to children, but that's very different to full blanket censorship. Next up, we're going to talk about the cancellation of elections, or what I prefer to call the postponement of elections, because that's really what's going on. The reason it's being postponed and not cancelled is because they've been moved to next year. That is to deliver the government's local government plan. Postponing elections is a bad thing, and it doesn't look good for the government, but we've got to include the nuance that's necessary here, because two major things are missing from the talk about this. One is that it's working to a timeline of next year, which has already been set out by the government, and two, where there have been concerns about legitimacy being eroded, prominent think tanks have already stepped in, which means people are already on it, the experts are already on it, and that legal challenges could follow if the government breaches things here. And that process already starting to happen, that anxiety starting to happen, shows we're not in a dictatorship. In short, every single one of these points I've just talked about are refutable at best, and at worst, they're just wrong and misleading. This guy and others like him build on frustration and fear. They twist information and make it seem like the truth because that's what gets clicks and that's what gets them follows. If I was a kid or someone that wasn't already invested in this stuff, I might have believed them, and that's why this misleading content is so bad. That's why I do these videos to try and stop it. If you want to see more misleading content taken down like I've just done with this one, I've got loads of it on my page. I'll be back with the next Stupid Stories in a few days. Bye.